Someone, somewhere, is calling a funeral home right now, not because they want to, because they have no choice. That single observation is the foundation of everything I'm about to show you. Because there is a category of business that almost nobody talks about, not because it's a secret, because it's boring. No founder on a TED stage, no venture round, no viral product launch, just a business that opens every morning, serves people who have no alternative, and deposits cash at the end of the day. These are called boring businesses, and in my framework, boring is not an insult. Boring is a structural characteristic. Boring means the demand is not discretionary. Boring means the phone rings whether the economy is growing or collapsing. Boring means the owner sleeps well. Today, I want to show you exactly why this category is one of the most asymmetric opportunities available to a capital allocator right now. Not as a theory, as a system. Before the numbers, I need you to understand one filter, one question that separates a boring business from everything else. The question is not, is this business interesting? The question is, do people buy this even when they don't want to? Think about what that means. When you buy a new phone, you make a choice. When you book a vacation, you make a choice. When you upgrade your car, you make a choice. When your boiler breaks in January, you don't make a choice. You call someone. When your restaurant has a health inspection tomorrow and you have an infestation today, you don't make a choice. You call someone. When you need to dispose of hazardous industrial waste and the law requires certified handling, you don't make a choice. You call someone. This is the defining characteristic of a boring business. The demand is structural, not discretionary, and a business with structural demand is a business that doesn't need a good economy. It just needs people. And people reliably keep existing. Now let me take you inside 3 specific sectors. 3 areas where the gap between current market structure and future consolidation is wide enough to drive a platform through. Not because they're undiscovered, because they're unloved. And the market systematically underprices what it doesn't love. The first sector produces the most interesting reaction when I bring it up. Funeral services. Somewhere between 600,000 and 700,000 people die every year in a mid-sized European country. That number doesn't go down. With an aging population, it goes up. Every single death generates a mandatory call to a funeral operator. Nobody compares prices on Google. Nobody waits for a discount. Nobody reschedules. The market is fragmented into thousands of family-run operators. Most have a founder over 60 with no identified successor. Most have zero CRM. Most have no digital presence worth mentioning. Most have never optimized their pricing in a decade. In the United States, this sector has already been consolidated by PE-backed operators at significant scale. In most European markets, the first wave of consolidation is just beginning. The first serious consolidator typically controls less than 3% of the national market. Less than 3%. In a multi-billion-dollar market with thousands of fragmented operators, this is not a saturated sector. This is a sector entering the consolidation phase that the US completed years ago. And whoever positions today will be selling in 7 years at multiples that currently seem aggressive. The second sector is less dynamic but equally precise. HVAC, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, plumbing, the people who keep buildings functional. The HVAC supply chain in developed markets is worth tens of billions. Heat pumps, driven by energy transition policy, are growing at 7% annually. Data centers, expanding at rates not seen in a decade, require specialized HVAC systems growing at over 8% annually. And on the other side, you find tens of thousands of small operators, family businesses, one van, one phone, not great technicians, zero CRM, zero contracted maintenance programs, zero dispatch optimization, zero digital pricing. In the United States, Apex Service Partners closed 60 acquisitions in 2025 alone. 60 in a single year. There is no comparable PE-backed HVAC consolidator in most European markets. None. That gap is not permanent. It is a window, and windows close. The third sector produces the most counterintuitive reaction: self-storage. In the UK, there are roughly 0.72 square meters of self-storage per inhabitant. In most continental European markets, that number is closer to 0.0150th. This doesn't mean Europeans have less to store. It means the adoption curve is in its early stages in markets where the UK and the US are already mature. The forces driving demand are exactly the ones defining the current moment. Real estate costs, short-term rental hosts, and aging population downsizing. E-commerce growth creating logistics needs. Self-storage produces EBITDA margins between 35% and 45% at scale. It is real estate backed, which makes it near perfect collateral for leveraged acquisitions. It is counter-cyclical. In recessions, divorce rates and relocations increase, and demand moves with them. Established players cover only a fraction of what the market will absorb. Now, I want you to understand why this specific moment is a window that doesn't repeat. 3 structural vectors are overlapping simultaneously. And when 3 vectors overlap, the person who sees it first has an advantage the market will never fully compensate. The first vector is demographic. In most developed Western markets, the number of business owners over 60 now exceeds those under 35. These people are exiting the market. Not all have a child who wants to continue. Many of them will sell, and they will sell at multiples that are structurally lower than any comparable market. The second vector is the multiple gap. Boring businesses in most European markets are acquired at between 4x and 7x annual EBITDA. The same businesses trade at 10x to 13x in the United States. This is not a temporary anomaly. It is the result of a less mature private equity ecosystem, a less developed acquisition culture, and the absence of professional consolidators in sectors that the US rationalized a decade ago. Which means one thing: someone who buys at 5x today and builds a group with aggregated EBITDA above $5 million has a reasonable expectation of selling in 5 to 7 years. To a European fund or an American strategic buyer who will look at that business through the eyes of someone accustomed to paying 10x. That is the arbitrage, not speculation, structure. The third vector is technological. Most competitors in these sectors do not use a CRM. They have no dynamic pricing, no digital booking system, no Google review management, no local SEO, no KPI dashboard. This means that anyone who enters with 12 to 24 months of basic operational professionalization can expand EBITDA by 30 to 50% without additional capital expenditure. Not because they are brilliant, because the baseline is so low that any professional standard becomes a competitive advantage. I know what you're thinking. Why isn't everyone doing this already? Simple answer: because it's boring. There is no pitch deck with a hockey stick curve. There is no story to tell at a dinner. There is no product to show your contacts. There is a funeral home in a mid-sized city with $800,000 of EBITDA, a 64-year-old owner who wants to stop working, and zero succession plan. Intelligent capital doesn't look for stories. It looks for structure. And the structure of these businesses: non-discretionary demand, extreme fragmentation, technological gap, discounted multiples, is among the most solid I have analyzed. One action: not go buy a funeral home tomorrow morning. That is not the point. The point is this: the next time you look for somewhere to deploy capital or build something, ask one question before anything else. Do people buy this even when they don't want to? If the answer is yes, you are looking in the right direction. If the answer is no, you are looking at something interesting. And interesting, over the long run, almost always loses to boring. I chose boring. Subscribe. The next video goes inside the mathematics of building a group from scratch.